Hello, and welcome to Spiritual Alternatives. I'm your host, Brother Baruch, and this is a program where we offer information about spirituality that you might not find in mainstream America. Today, we're blessed to have with us none other than Ben Ammi, the anointed spiritual leader of the African Hebrew Israelites. And before we go into this interview, I'd like to give you a brief historical review on what this brother represents. First off, he represents a body of over 3,500 people that have journeyed outside of America and traveled to Israel to reestablish the kingdom of God. These people have established a model community free of crime, free of violence, free of the nutritional and other biological problems that our people face here in the United States of America. We are blessed this evening to have Ben Ammi in our studios. Thank you for coming and welcome.
Thank you for the opportunity to be here and to share what I refer to as the good news for our people. And I feel, considering the circumstances that they find themselves in, I feel that some good news should be very, very welcome to them.
Indeed. And when we speak about good news, when we look at the world around us, here in the United States, there in the Northeast Africa, or some call the Middle East, what good news do you have to offer? What good news do you have to bring to us about the reality of your community that might make us feel better about ourselves and what we might need to do as a people?
Well, first of all, I feel that we need to reassess the direction of our struggle. My being here at this time is an attempt to change the direction of the struggle of our people from one that is secular, political, and economic to one that is spiritual and redemptive. Our people are quite involved in a secular struggle, but in a secular struggle, you cannot involve or invoke God into your struggle on your side. When I refer to a spiritual struggle, I'm saying that the only way that our people will find their way out of the present predicament is that if they are able to invoke God into their struggle on their side. And in order to invoke God into their struggle on their side, they're going to have to be reconciled with the fact that they will have to move to represent His best interests on this earth.
That's a great answer. And we do actually have a film clip of a program that you spoke on here in Washington, D.C. In just a minute, we're going to break away to that. Brother Ben Ammi, your trek outside of America back in the 60s, during the turmoil of the 60s, can you explain to us why?
Well, first of all, I would like to share a little bit of our history with you, and from that history you'll be able to determine that we, and the words that were spoken, in fact, set that turmoil in motion in the 60s. In less than 2 years, as a result of those words that were spoken, finally, to the members of the congregation, and after that, on every opportunity, it was a result of those words that the great riots in 1966, the cities were burning. We are absolutely sure at this time that the question that I had pondered, how was I to convince a significant number of our people to leave America, that the events were set in motion by me having faith in those words that were given unto me by the angel. 1967, the great riots continued, the length and breadth of America, in fact, creating the environment which would give the impetus for a significant number of our people to hear my call for the Exodus and to start the journey back to the Promised Land. As the Word of God had come, the Exodus did begin in 1967. Under the smokescreen of the great riots, the redemptive struggle for our people was set in motion by the Holy One of Israel.
You say assessment. Indeed, as you've come back to America, what do you assess, and how do you assess how we have progressed or maybe gone in a negative direction?
First of all, our people are without leaders with vision. And where there is no vision, the people perish.
Yes.
Second of all, our people have lost contact with the will of the Most Holy. You see, what has happened in the institutions of America today is that they have destroyed the essential element. They have destroyed the sense of what is right and what is wrong. And we find our people, the great majority of our people today, rationalizing evil. And when you can no longer assess what is right and wrong, you can no longer invoke God into your struggle on your side simply because you don't know how. So our people today have been mollified with things, these things that have been defined as living and life. They are all now trying to get larger televisions. They're all now trying to get more vehicles and better paying jobs. But all around us, we find destruction. They have diverted our attention from the essential necessity, the need to worship and to be in harmony with God on this earth. As a matter of fact, if I would pose the question to my people today as to how did we get so involved in a secular struggle? Every man of God, every people of God that were ever chosen, they were chosen to advance the ideas or the will of God on this earth. I don't even recall, and I don't say this out of malice, I don't even recall the last time that I've heard one of the African American leaders side with God on an issue. When it comes to what they now refer to as child abuse, they side with the opposition to God. When it comes to perversion, they have sided with the opposition to God. When it comes to worship, they side with the opposition to God. So I'm simply saying that all through the family, all through the neighborhoods, that we find the leaders today have sided with God. And since they have sided with God, they are leading our people in a secular struggle. And in that secular struggle, then they no longer allow them to define what is right and what is wrong. The struggle in the last days, the struggle is actually between what is right and what is wrong. For example, let us consider in the neighborhoods today, we are quite familiar with the term crime and sin, crime and criminals. And this term we hear quite often, but when you hear the term crime, you think of the criminal justice system, and subsequently you feel to get your house in order with the state. But I'm simply saying that we need to redirect our language. I'm saying that the neighborhoods are full of sin. But when you hear the term sin, you do not think of the criminal justice department. You consider that your house is out of order with God. Subsequently, you need to consider being reconciled with the Creator. I'm saying that the African American neighborhoods today are full of sin and sinners. But when you hear that term, you no longer refer to the state. You are being referred to the Creator. And that's the problem. But the leaders of our people today do not want to acknowledge that. They continue to guide our people down the path to destruction. How do I know? I am simply capable in 2002 of analyzing us and assessing the end result.
Indeed, and we can see the end result throughout all our urban centers and our communities. And while we were away at the break, you have some statistics that you shared with me. I'm a holistic health practitioner, so I'm very comfortable in speaking in that area, and I know that our people have failed themselves very miserably. But you had some statistics that I was not aware of, and I just wanted to see whether you might be able to share those with us.
500,000 African Americans perish every year from preventable diseases. 1 out of every 13 African Americans will suffer fatal kidney disorder. Crime, sickness, disease, AIDS, all of these things that are preventable are prevalent in our community. 500,000 a year. That means that in 10 years, we're talking about 5 million. 20 years, my beloved son, and to our people, wherever they may be, in 20 years, you're talking about 10 million of our people perishing. And when we consider the magnitude of that, we're actually saying that in 20 years, possibly every 80 to 90%, possibly every adult Black American will perish. Every adult that you are living with, residing with, that you meet on the streets today, in 20 years, every one of them will perish. What is the problem? The end result. But our people today are not even conscious of the fact they're not able to relate diet with sickness and disease. 86% of our people are not aware of the connection between diet and disease. Why are they not aware? Simply because their leaders are not making them aware. They are followers. Their leaders are hiding this information from them simply because their leaders are a part of this economic of this capitalistic society. It's all about money. Sickness today is a big business.
Yes, I'm fully with you. Again, and having been in this field for so long, I know that it's definitely about business. Now, that's a big machine that you're going up against. How do you plan, and what is it that you have demonstrated as it relates to successes? Because you're now touting the statistics in our community. What are the statistics in your community?
33 years, African American men are number one in the world in prostate cancer and hypertension. 1 in 13 blacks in America suffering fatal kidney disease. 33 years, we have not experienced one fatal, not one incidence of kidney disorder. 33 years, not one case of prostate cancer. 33 years, not one heart attack. 33 years, not one case of cancer. Well, let us be realistic. You would think that with statistics like that, that African American researchers, scientists, and doctors, that they would be beating down the doors of the community in Dimona. Absolutely not. Not one research team has visited Dimona to assess how we were able to achieve such miraculous results. Why? Because the interest of our people is not in their heart. We have now got to go back and to assess and to ask our people, why is it? I'm saying these things publicly. This is not a secret. This is not a mystery. Why is it that they have not sought out the grants to send the teams to do the research, to assess as to how we have achieved such miraculous results in Dimona? Simply because of our diets. We, first of all, I had to teach our people that there is a direct correlation, a direct connection between what you consume and, again, the end result. You see, if they are not able to connect up diet with the health issue, then that means that they're looking at this end results and they're pondering as to why, but they're not connecting it up with what they are consuming. I'm simply saying that we must go back now and we must chastise these leaders that are continuously diverting the attention of our people from the essential elements, the true life and living. I say unto you, my beloved son, you cannot be living and dying at the same time. It is evident that the present leaders are processing our people from the carnation of the womb, the carnation milk, to the carnation of the grave. And it is evident that this is their objective. Why? Because I am able, we are all able in 2002 to assess the end results.
Now, nutritionally speaking, you have formulated a diet for your community that, of course, has made your people avoid many of the illnesses that folks in America are suffering from regularly. Now, where do you base this diet on? And you spoke about there being a spiritual problem. What's the connection between the nutritional and the spiritual and this solution that you've been able to find for your people?
Well, again, we have had to go back to the book of Genesis, back to the book of Genesis, to the diet that was given by the Creator unto our people. And as I go back to share this with you, at the same time, I can verify the Genesis creative process. In the book of Genesis, we are reminded that we were all created from the dirt, from the soil, from the dust of the earth. If, in fact, we were created from the dirt of the earth, from the soil, then there has to be some kind of synergy, some way to verify if, in fact, that creative process actually came to be. Let us consider. There are 112 minerals in the earth. For example, iron. You have iron in your body? Phosphorus, manganese, magnesium, boron, nickel, calcium. All of these minerals that are found in the earth are in fact found in our bodies. And together with that, we must supply our bodies with these essential minerals, or either we will get sick and ultimately we will die. So that means that we cannot live without those minerals. The infinite wisdom of the Creator caused us to what? He knew that we could not consume these minerals as ores. I could not go out and hack a piece of iron out of the mountain and consume that, ingest it and digest it and metabolize it. But in his infinite wisdom, still knowing and following a perfect plan, he then caused plants to spring forth from the same earth from which we were created. And in those plants, we could find an ample supply of all of the minerals for our bodies. So the Creator then gave us a diet that we would have to consume from the same source from which we were created. It is for that reason that I'm a vegan. This is not just a movement or a fad. This is us going back to live in harmony with the will of the Creator, to move from the transient to the eternal. And I'm simply saying to our people that no animal consumption has anything to do with your beginnings, but it does have something to do with your endings. And we're simply saying that when you consume animal flesh, you move from the transient, you move from the eternal to the transient. So I am a vegan. I am a vegan because I am consuming from the source of my creation, the soil from which I was taken. I, from that same soil, receive all of my nutrition.
And a vegan is just an absolute vegetarian.
Absolutely.
There you
We
go.
consume no animal products or byproducts.
All right, great. And your present existence there in Israel, of course, as we consider the turmoil and the conflict there in that land, tell us, how is that community able to maintain itself, and how are you doing there in that land?
We're doing relatively fine. We're able to maintain ourselves and to continue to be motivated because we're absolutely sure that what we're doing is right. And when you can have that absolute feeling and that absolute motivation, then all of those things can occur around you. But when you know that it is right, you are motivated by the love for the people of that land and by the love for all of the human family. We must succeed, not just for our sakes, but for their sakes. We, being the descendants of the biblical Israelites, were chosen to be a light unto the nations. And except that we provide that light, they will continue to find themselves in absolute darkness. Our love for our people, our love for the human family is our motivation, and that protects us, and that continues to keep us focused. It is for their sake. But when you hear these kind of words, all of our people should realize that when the strong man comes, then the weak should rejoice. When the wise man comes, then it is the foolish that should rejoice. It is the eternal prayer of the blind man for God to send him what? Someone that has eyes to see. So all of those, if they hear the term Savior, all of those that need saving should what? Lift up their heads, for it is their salvation that draweth nigh. We are motivated by a love for our people, absolute love, biblical love, the love of God and the love of humanity, that we continue on this tedious journey, being assured that for their sakes, we've already won. Now we're fighting for you and your family, and for all of those here in America. We're fighting for all of the families of the earth. We've already tasted of this paradise, but now we're motivated because we want to share this with you and all of the other families of the earth.
And now you speak of course, coming back here and shining this light. Tell us about this. You journey back here. I don't know how frequently you've come back, but you've come back here to America. What is your purpose? Is your purpose, again, to assess what it is that's going wrong with our people, or can you expound on your purpose for us?
And absolutely. What I would do, during these sojourns is I have certain things that I plead to my people to do. One of those things is that we must go back and reassess the Bible. We must go back now to the Bible and start reading from Genesis to Malachi. You see, in 2002, it's not like the days of Frederick Douglass, but I'm perplexed to see still how easy it is to deceive our people. I mean, still basic, elementary, rudimentary things that they still are not familiar with. I'm still trying to make my people understand that all of the North African populations were in fact African people, that the ancient Canaanites were African people, the ancient Israelites were African people, and all of these things are critical, for history controls destiny. So as I return to the United States, periodically, I come to share the truth with our people, for only truth has the inherent power to produce the promised effects. They must know the truth in order to achieve true freedom. My people are not free today. but the definition of freedom that has been given to them in the institutions. They have achieved that. But the true freedom promised by God, they are a great distance from that freedom. True freedom will come for us when we have the freedom to worship as one people, as an ecology of people, to worship the one God with one objective, to advance his interests on this earth. So what I'm doing during these sojourns is I'm trying to turn my people back to the Creator, back to the God of the Bible, the God of the Israelites, the only God on record for delivering our people from the hands of Pharaoh. We were chosen to be a light unto the nations. And the words of Isaiah the prophet in the 60th chapter speaks unto them as I speak unto them. It is time for them to arise and shine, that the glory of God, not the glory of Harvard, not the glory of Yale or Michigan State, but that the glory of God may be seen upon them. And there are two salient points about that scriptural reference. One, that it is time for our people to arise in the midst of great darkness. And number two, that the glory of God is something that will be seen and verifiable, something that will be seen from the rise of a people, moving from the tail unto the head. I have come to point my people in that direction, from the tail unto the head, from a lost of glory back to the glory of the most holy God of our fathers.
Now, when we look and assess your community, we also have found in reading up on the African Hebrew Israelites that you have model communities throughout the world, in fact. And I wanted to find out where are you located, and where do you have these model communities established out? I think I saw them in West Africa. And what is the purpose of these communities?
Well, first of all, the prototype is in Israel. When you have a prototype, then thereafter it is simply a matter of expansion. We know what to do. It is simply a matter of us doing it more, to now entice our people to partake, to come, to listen, and to allow us to teach them so that they can replicate the prototype that is in Dimona. And we are replicating that prototype also in Ghana, West Africa. I'm saying that the future of our people rests within the confines of the geographical location of Africa. America for us is the past. But nevertheless, we're not asking all of our people to leave America, but we're saying they have experimented with boot camps. They have experimented with larger prisons. They've experimented with putting the prison industry on the stock market. I'm simply saying that let us experiment now with our minds, with ourselves, with our strength, with our readiness, with our vision. I'm saying now, give us a chance. Allow us now to govern ourselves, to allow us now to apply our vision. We applied our vision in Dimona, and we're able to verify the fact that a great miracle has been wrought within the community in Dimona. And we believe that we can reproduce that miracle if we are given the opportunity.
Now, you spoke about a structure. Tell us about your government structure and how that is set up. And I guess the same government structure would then be modeled in these other communities. Tell us about that.
And our structure is modeled after the will of God and the word of God in the book of Genesis. First of all, we find that man was created from the dirt of the earth. Adam was created from the dirt of the earth. But Eve was not created from the dust of the earth. Why wasn't Eve created from the dust of the earth? Certainly the Creator was capable, but Eve was created from man, so that she would always remember that her existence depends upon the presence of man. And children, honor thy father and thy mother, that they may prolong thy days upon the land which the Lord thy God hath given unto thee. So we have went back to the order of Genesis. Man, put your hands in the hands of man. Woman, put your hands in the hands of your man. And children, put your hands in the hands of your mother and your father. And then we move to the social structure, the social spiritual structure. And we have the Holy Council, which is governed by the princes of the community. Thereafter we have the ministers, and thereafter we have what are called the crown brothers and the crown sisters, and they make up the leadership of the community. But more so, the most important element is that in the midst of the community, that everything, what bonds us together is our love and our trust of each other. Our people today have lost their hope, they have lost their trust. And we're simply saying that we have found a way today to reestablish trust. That is the bond that holds us together. All of the titles are irrelevant except that we're bonded together by love, dedication, and trust. My people trust me, and I say that in all humility, that they trust me, and I trust my people, because I know for a surety that their objective is to fulfill the will of God and to advance His best interests on this earth.